Next level. Next level. Next level. Next level.
I'm Riley Harvey for vCycling, and we are live tonight with the Heroica Moonriders Series 3. They are off like a rocket. Rocky Roy Neal is flying off there. He's gone flying into the lead. We are on the Ronde circuit tonight, which has got more leaves than I'd like. Rocket Roy Neal at the front there with Jonathan Orr. Sorry, Jonathan Orr's a few riders back. Let's stay away from these trees. Jay Linden from Poker Motion on the front there. Wouter Claes, Parks, Grajowski, Dave Stinson from R3R. Francois Heroica. Good crew of riders here. Bench. Daniel Nuabur winding through these narrow roads. John Beams, and we've got a rider going off the front there. Putting in some early effort. Spurheads, and going with him is James Melville front there. So I'm going to look behind, just seeing who's coming with him. We'll wave to the camera. Suspect that's a signal to James Melville for giving a little bit of effort here. Melville about to be reabsorbed by the group. Burhead's opening up a 30-meter gap. Unlikely to be held all the way through to the end, but there's a good effort. We're on a flat section here. 2 climbs on the Ronde course, 3 laps. They are going to start to feel it as this race continues. See the pedalheads there. John Beams leading the pack up to Verhez and carrying on through, and bringing with him his teammate Daniel Nuabur. Just while we're in this early section, these breaks are unlikely to continue going away, as we see Wouter Claes taking the lead there for a moment. I'll go give some name checks now. We've got Daniel Nuabur, Rocket Roy Neal, one of the Moonriders. His teammate Francois Heroica there. Oh, Francois putting in a big effort here to get up to the front there with his team leader Wouter Claes. Daniel Nuabur, Mike Wareham, Rocket Roy, Jonathan Orr, who is the leader in the classification. I think he's already won the overall GC. This will be his an easy lap for him there. We see Kim just going through into the front. I think that's James Melville. Let's just flip through on the edge of the camera. Arno Dennett, who's had a good series this year as well. AESRT. There's Lyndon Poco. We've got Philon, Ross Collins there. L Parks. Cedric Daniels, who I think is holding 2nd place in the overall GC. Jory Sheppers. Ratio Racing. Right, just flying up there and getting caught in the auto braking. Kerpel. Stimson. Kajowski. Rocket Roy again. We've got Wayne Schnitzling. the rider Jay Venus, riding for RGT France, who just got hung up on a auto braking section there. We're on a steep climb here. We're up at nearly 8%. Jetson, Dion, might wear him, Pluter, Millard, Jones, with Pales, a female avatar, not sure if it's a actual female rider, Ulak, Hulbert, Bench, Karen Bailey, who has been the standout lady rider in this event. Moonriders, Brown, Goodfellow, Tar, Kemp. A couple of riders further back here. We've got Thirsk. And then there is Aravalo. And presumably both these riders have had some issues at the start. Aravalo putting a very low watts per kilogram there. And Thirsk, decent watts per kilogram, but a little bit off the pace. Fly back up to the front. And you can see Kim, Wouter Claes, and Jonathan Orr's made his way onto the front of the race now. To the cobbled section at the top of this climb. Coming around a bend in a moment and then onto the flatter section again. And then we're under the halfway banner. And then just approaching another section of climbing. Kim looking like they've got their climbing legs on today. Leading out these riders. The field getting slimmer by the minute. Coming up through these cobbled areas, you can see there's probably 11 in this front group. Cedric Daniil's making that important cut with the 3 other teammates. Team 3R there. Team 3R have absolutely smashed it on this series. Just kicks a little bit on this corner before flattening out once again. And Team 3R, I think they've definitely won the team series classification. Just past these posters of former greats and some of them current still. Little nod to the history of the Ronde event. James Melville up in the mix tonight. Going on board with Kim still. Heart rate of 167. Simpson coming through. John Beams. Pace just stretching everybody out a little bit on this section. Down to a group of 10 now, with Verhes being drifted off the back there. We are in the chat on YouTube. If anybody's about and would like to have us focus in on a particular rider or drop a comment, we're happy to chat. Get some results while we're on this wide out shot. So we've got the classifications. We've got the golden jersey, which is the overall GC classification, and leading that is Jonathan or JP from the R3R Credence team, and he's got his teammate Cedric Daniels in second place. I think that I don't think there's any possibility of anybody overtaking Jonathan now. Given the scoring system, it's the best 8 of 12 on this event, and Jonathan Orr has got a score of 1,560. I think it's possibly Cedric Daniels could possibly get to 1,475. I don't think it's could overtake him. Arno Dennett is in third position with 1,285. And just behind him is Mark Rowbottom with 1,271. So it is very possible that Mark Rowbottom could be taking the third step on the podium. Looking like Arno Dennett is in front of him currently in this race. I've not seen Mark Rowbottom, but it may be that he's favouring one of the final stage, stage 12. Give him his best chance of getting the points. There's also a Team GC, and as I mentioned earlier on, there's been a really good showing from Team 3R in all of these events, as we see Van Oudenaarde now just taking off at the Paterberg, but then John Beams is coming through. Cedric Daniels, I think it's James Melville taking the front there. Arno Dennett on the front, Jonathan Orr chasing. Arno Dennett putting the efforts in, his heart rate's up at 182 there. Jonathan Orr and his teammates following. Is it coming up? Paterberg. And instead of taking the right-hand turn like we usually do on the Paterberg, we are taking the left, continuing around this loop. So back to the GC, and in the teams classification, there is R3R Credence leading with 4,257 combined points. Ratio Racing coming in second with 3,675, and then Pedalers coming in 3,186. it looks like that's pretty set. There is a chance that if Speedwagon, R3R Speedwagon have a fantastic couple of races, they could overtake, but I think it's unlikely that they're going to overtake the Pedalers. Purple jersey for the women only. It's nice to see that there's been a couple of more entrants. It had been Karen Bailey on her own racing for the Moonriders, Team Satellite Riders, who's taken 1,400 points and has raced in 7 different events. She's being joined by Julianne Jameson and Wendy Pales. So Wendy Pales is racing tonight as well. They've had some good races, but Karen, by the fact that she's been the only lady to have competed in many of the races, is going to take the purple jersey. Green jersey, the flat stages jersey, is again, it's being competed for by Jonathan Orr and Cedric Daniels. It's looking likely that it's going to be Jonathan Orr that takes that jersey as well. And Cedric Daniels looking likely again, and he's going to take second place, but it's close between Nick Greenhouse and Jan Vanner. You have no pins in 3rd and 4th position, and not too far behind is Mark Rowbottom. That 3rd position is still up for grabs. Red jersey, hill climbing jersey, is being finalised tonight with tonight's event. This is being won currently by Arno Dennett. It's actually being won. Arno Dennett and Jonathan Orr are sharing 1st position, so that will be finalised tonight, with the winner of this race taking the red jersey. And the overall podiums, we've already discussed those. Go back to the race, jump back in a little bit, get some close-ups of the footage. We've got this group down, this lead group now is thinning down somewhat again, with Joris Sheppers dropping off the back. James Melville currently at the back of the group, but James got some good raw power to get himself back in. And John Beams leading the race currently. It is starting to look like it's fragmenting a little bit more. Every time one of these efforts is done, the gaps are opening up a little bit more. Cedric Daniels comes through with Stimson and Jonathan Orr. As we come up to the base of this climb. And that's the start of the timed segment there. We head on into this climb. Interesting to see if we lose any more from this front group, whether these riders are going to be able to make it through to the final lap. On the Paterberg was a decisive attack made with 1 lap to go, and it could well be the Paterberg that decides it tonight as well. This climb being a little bit more drawn out. And we're on with Arno Dennett now. I think it was Arno Dennett that won the Paterberg actually. Back to my result briefly. It was Roman Hubel, who also rides for AESRT, who won the Paterberg, and it was some fantastic climbing that he undertook there. See whether Arno Dennett can match his pace and attack on the Paterberg, make it interesting. Wouter taking the lead. And Jonathan Orr coming through to assert his authority on the group. And the gapping there between 5th position for John Beams, James Melville just opening up on this climb. Stimson trying to come across and close it back down again. But this group of 5 tightly packed and it creeping out, 27 meters gapping now. Stimson putting in a big effort here. Melville looking like he's resigned to this gap opening up, whether he's going to try and close it on this flatter section. Stimson heart rate 185. Flattening out somewhat now. Stimson, his efforts moderated. He's resigned himself to the fact he's not going to catch this pack. In doing so, though, he has managed to distance James Melville. In that attempt, he's distanced James Melville by 112 metres, 120 metres even. James really must have just eased off on the power coming towards the top of that climb. It's an extra bit of the climbing now, 6%. Simpson, steady pace, 182 heart rate, cadence 70. Lower cadence is quite often seen on the climbs. And everybody spins away like crazy, like the old Broomy does. And the pack disappears into the distance. So we'll jump forward. Keep track. Wouter Moonriders, John Beams, Pedalaires, and we've got Arno Dennett and the 2 regulars at the front of the race. Constants in this series, Jonathan Orr and Cedric Daniels. Cedric Daniels just seeming like his character his avatar had pulled a poor line coming through that corner. He's just got passed on the inside by Wouter. Cedric Daniels dropped back into 5th, but he's still with this group. John Beams pushes forward. The riders out of the saddle, pushing on these little micro climbs now as we're coming towards the top of the circuit. Going to start descending down towards the Paterberg. Cedric Daniels out of nowhere. Where is he going? Cedric Daniels with a sprint at the top of this climb, 8 watts per kilogram. Shocks the group. Out off into the lead. Obviously wants to be first into the descent. Perhaps there was a game plan there between him and Jonathan Orr. John Beams is to his wheel. And everything settles down slightly. Neil's heart rate slowly reducing. VCycling just slightly off the back of the pack. 5 meter gap. He's back there. Not allowed that to open up anymore. Back in the drafting zone. Wait now and see if there's any more interesting attacks from the two boys in Team 3R. Neil's heart rate down at 135 now. After that brief attack, is taking it much easier. The whole pack seems to have slowed somewhat. Everybody just settling in. You can see the coloured bars underneath the riders' names, which is an indication of how much power they're putting out in relation to their FTP. And when it's in those pale blue or blue colours, it's considerably below their FTP. Just basically means that they're soft pedaling, they're just cruising. As we're coming underneath the Flamme Rouge, it's descending section. Still 9.5 kilometers remaining. We'll see these riders up the Paterberg, and then we'll just briefly drift back, see if there's any other battles forming on the road, any other groups forming. They're just coming into the base of the Paterberg. They're right into the base, and instantly at 8.9% gradient. Dennett now pushing on the front, or chasing Cedric Daniels, chasing vCycling. John Beams just stringing it out now. Dennett is giving it the beans. 8.1 watts per kilogram. Heart rate of 173 and climbing. 178. It's 19.8. Just tops out at slightly over 20. Past it. Jonathan Orr is stuck to him. It's not broken, and Jonathan Orr comes past him. As this gradient diminishes slightly, Jonathan Orr goes into the lead. He continues pushing to the top of the climb. Arno Dennett, his attack diminished. As Jonathan Orr comes over the top first. Pushes into the flatter section, opens up a gap of 70 metres over his teammate Cedric Niels, who's back with Arno Dennett into the descent. Jonathan Orr with 8.5 kilometres remaining has opened up a small gap on the chasing pack. The chasers themselves have fragmented. That group of 5 that had been totally packed together, now 2 groups of 2, with Arno Dennett riding with Cedric Daniels. Dennett's unlikely to get any help from Daniels. Teammate of Jonathan Orr is going to have to work to pull back Jonathan Orr on his own. With vCycling, he's just now separated himself from John Beam slightly, a 30-metre gap. Woods is going to have to work very hard to get back to that. His riders in front of him. But with Cedric Daniels not riding to the benefit of Arno Dennett, it could be possible. It could be possible for Wouter to close that gap. John Beams and some effort there with for the Pedalaires group. Simpson been riding somewhat solo for a good portion of this race now. He's 515 metres behind Beams, but he's managed to keep the distance from James Melville. Melville is now riding with Van Oudenaarde. Joris Shepherd's the next nearest competitor, 700 metres back. And he's only just finishing the ascent of the Paterberg. Kerpel and Verhez. Trying to get to the wheel of Joris Shepherd's there. Daniel Nurgber. He's completing his ascent. And we've got Vignew. Chased by Rocket Roynield. And this is the first big pack now. We've got Anton Krajowski. You see Ross Collins there just dropping out to the side. I don't know if he's had a brief power outage, maybe slipped a chain. Trying to change gear on this ferocious ascent. Kovacic and Wayne Snitzeling in there as well. Parks. And with Francois Heroica. Ross's avatar just deciding to take the outside line, perhaps looking for the gutter there. The smoother route up that climb. We've got Mallard and Jessen just coming in to the base of the climb. Pluter a little bit further back. And then with Mike Wareham. We're going to go back up to the front, see how that's developing. We will stop and see all these riders come to the finish line. Jonathan Orr, still 100 plus meters in front. He's keeping the power on though, 5.1 watts per kilogram. 5.6 kilometers remaining of this race. As I say, his teammates just behind him with Wouter Claes has managed to make the gap and close up, and has John Beams. We've got a group of 4 here. The interesting thing will be to see whether these riders work together to close down Jonathan Orr, whether they're going to stick it out to the end and battle between themselves. Bennett Place, John Beams. And Cedric Daniels at the back of this little group of 4. Cobbles starting once again. I'm pretty sure on this course the cobbles are just for aesthetics. They don't affect the rolling resistance of the bike. But in the new Dunoon course, there is a number of areas where the rolling resistance varies based upon the terrain. As happens with Dirty Reaver as well. When you go onto the gravel, it does become much harder and slower going. Wouter Claes now looking like he's perhaps burnt too many matches bridging that gap earlier on. He's dropping off slightly here. 15-meter gap opening up to Cedric Daniels. There isn't much drafting to be had on climbs this steep where the speeds are quite lower. It's at 18 kilometers per hour here. But you do see that those gaps open up as soon as we go over the top and we crest this climb, and those three riders in front will start using the drafting. They see that the gaps very quickly open up as vCycling still putting in a lot of effort, but it's looking like he's getting distanced by this group in front, and he's not going to be challenging for that second and third position on the podium tonight. So we're going to jump forward to Cedric Daniels, John Beams and Arnaud Dennett as we're getting onto the flatter section here. Underneath the halfway marker, 4.6 kilometers still to go. Our leader 320 meters out in front. Very catchable if the riders work together, but often not the case. We've got Cedric Daniels, who isn't going to work to the detriment of his teammate, and Arnaud Dennett, John Beams probably aren't in communication to organise themselves to take turns on the front. .9% gradient. If we go down closer to the floor here, you can get an indication of how steep this climb is. Just coming up on some of the back markers. And we're coming up on the barriers as well. Through those back markers, and the pace lifting slightly. Just coming to the top of this climbing section. Flattens out briefly. That's the end of the time segment as well as we go underneath this banner. Cedric Daniels pushes here. There is a little small kick as we go around this corner. Cedric perhaps wanting to drop one or even both of his fellow riders there to ensure that second position on the podium for himself. Jonathan Orr keeping the distance steady around about 350 meters in front. Just under 40 minutes of racing time. And with more back markers coming up now, we've got first just coming into sight. I think sometimes on multi-lap courses that can be a little bit of confusion. You can see an avatar in the distance and perhaps think it's the rider that you're chasing, the rabbit, so to speak, and you can just lose tempo slightly, thinking you're catching the lead rider, whereas in fact you are just catching up to one of the back markers. It's good to see that list on the left-hand side, that rider list. Keep an eye on the distances. John Beams and Arnaud Dennett just a little effort there. Slightly distanced Cedric Daniels, but he's coming back. Jonathan Orr now increases lead to 630 meters. Cedric Daniels not allowing these riders to get away. There was a small gap opening up there, but he's powered his way back up to them. He's been commanding second place on the GC all the way through. .1 kilometers remaining. We will jump forward to see final ascent of Paterberg with Jonathan Orr. And hopefully we'll be back in time to see what happens with these three riders. John Beams pushes on here. It's in a little bit of an effort. Dennett goes. Jump forward. See Jonathan Orr just riding with E. Jones. 500 meters to go, but there is that climb, that small matter of the Paterberg to be conquered. As Jonathan Orr enters this climb for the last time of this race. And opens up the tank, unleashes 8 watts per kilogram. Avatar sits down in the saddle and steadies himself. 250 meters to the finish line. 7.5 watts per kilogram. Arno Dennett, John Beams behind. Not dropping any watt bombs just yet, but it's going to light up any moment when they enter the base of the Paterberg. Jonathan Orr comes past these back markers. Got Bench and Goodfellow there. 100 meters remaining to this finish line. Orr takes the turn. Comes over the finish line in 42 minutes and 10 seconds. Arno Dennett now with Cedric Daniels. John Beams just getting distance now. 60 meters. Sorry, 30 meters back to John Beams as Cedric Daniels goes now. Cedric Daniels opens up. An early sprint on the Paterberg. Arno Dennett's going with him. 9.6, 10.4 watts per kilogram for Arno Dennett. Slow progress up the Paterberg, but he is overhauling Cedric Daniels here. Cedric Daniels goes once again, 9.7 watts per kilogram. Arno Dennett distanced. His watts all spent. Arno Dennett's being pushed back into third position as Cedric Daniels comes around the bend, that tight turn, and takes the finish line in second place. Arno Dennett with a worthy attempt there to overhaul the power as Cedric Daniels comes over in third, and John Beams in fourth position with a chasing Wouterklaes. Not much of the Paterberg left here now. Wouterklaes just in sight, but unlikely to make it to the wheel of John Beams. John Beams takes the line in fourth position, and Wouterklaes coming up in fifth here. 7.5 watts per kilogram. Around that tight turn at the top. Under the finish banner in fifth position. Stimson, Team 3R. Closing out a strong 3R racing performance here. 212 meters left to go. Stimson racing for the Team 3R development. I think Cedric Daniels and Jonathan Orr are both for Credence. Jay Van Oudenaarde is 240 meters back, and he's just entered the base of the Paterberg with James Melville. Melville just overhauling him, pushing out 11 watts per kilogram briefly there. Just taking a slight lead on Van Oudenaarde, but it is a big climb to get over. Stimson is going to be home in 6th position. Comes onto the flat section and home in 44 minutes 44. Melville came into the base of the climb with Van Oudenaarde. Saved some matches and has burnt them all in one fell swoop to open up a gap of 41 meters. Van Oudenaarde, no slouch, pushing out 4.5 watts per kilogram, but is not able to compete with the 6.2 that Melville's pushing out here to take 7th position of this final ascent of the Paterberg. 26 and a bit meters, 26 and a bit kilometers of racing and over 500 meters of ascent. Most of that on painful 20% gradients. That's Melville over the line in just over 45 minutes. Van Oudenaarde racing well here to come over the line in 8th position. And we've just got behind Joris Scheppers, who's managed to open up a gap on Verhees and Kerpel. Scheppers 8.6, 8.8 watts per kilogram. Verhees now 4.1 watts per kilogram. 80 meters remaining. Kerpel behind him, but he's 80 meters behind as well. Kerpel got the very real risk of being overhauled by Daniel Nurber here now. Kerpel comes to the top of the climb, managing to keep Nurber behind. Nurber's been pushing hard at this climb, trying to close that distance down. Comes over in a position 12th position with time of just 47 minutes and 2 seconds. Roy Neild being attacked here by Vinu. Vinu only 17 meters behind, pushing out slightly more watts per kilogram, 6.8 watts per kilogram. Rocket Roy just hitting 6 now, but 100 meters left to go. Vinu closing the gap, 18 meters. Vinu 6.9, 7, 8.3 watts per kilogram. Roy just round the corner in time to make it to his 13th place finish. And Vinu closing the gap all the way down there to the finish line. Kovacek in 15th position. Kujawski doing the same there. Just coming up to the line. Not quite enough power at the end to overhaul him. Linden there, 17th position. And Wayne Schnitzling coming over in 18th. Close finishes there as Parks is coming up in 19th position. Francois Heroica not challenging here on the climb. Not able to overcome Parks. And with Ross Collins 160 meters behind. So Heroica just now happy to take the line in 20th position. A fantastic time, 48 minutes. You can just see the fences there really indicating how deep this gradient is. They've had to step those fences so much. Francois comes up to this sharp bend, that real 90-degree turn. Comes over the line, 48 minutes and 56 seconds. Ross Collins paused, doing a track stand there momentarily. I'm not sure we've got technical difficulties for Ross here or physical difficulties. He is doing a track stand here. His avatar not quite pulled over to the side. He's in 21st position and just stopped starting. Perhaps losing sensor connection briefly. In 21st position, but he's having a bit of a mare here. You can see Mallard is just behind. Mallard is looking like he's going to overtake Collins here. Collins having some difficulty. Mallard just open up 4.5, 4.7 watts per kilogram. Oh, Ross. Such a tragedy to get so close to the finish line in 21st position and then lose it to Mallard, who just looks to be having a more consistent ride, whether it's technology or issues with real life. Ross just stopping and going in starts there. Francois Rijka's just in the chat saying ouch, and I think that is the only word to describe this climb. Mallard there coming up towards the finish, towards the crest of the Paterberg. RA 168, 100 meters to go to the finish line. Around about 50 meters to the top of the Paterberg climb. Mallard takes that hard left-hand turn. See Jessen has come past Ross as well, and it looks like Pluter's going to come through as well. Heart really goes out to Ross Collins there. He's had such a good race and just had some dropouts there, some issues. Jessen comes up to the line. 75 meters remaining. Jessen's over the line. Ross Collins. Seeing that stop-start for Ross. Have to get in on the chat and see what's happened with Ross. If Francois, if you know what's happened with Ross Collins, is there any chat going on saying what's going on? Be interested to know as Pluter is coming past. Pluter putting in a big effort here. 4.9 watts per kilogram on the last ascent of the Paterberg. Comes past Ross Collins. Yeah, Francois says, thanks for streaming. It's not a problem. Pleasure to do it for you, Francois. Moonriders go to such effort to put on some great events for the RGT platform every year. They do the Heroica series. They also do the Moonrider series as well, which is a 5-day series. Or is it a 7-day series? Again, it's a best of series, so you don't have to turn up every day, but it takes part over a week rather than a multi-week series like the Heroica is. Much more compressed series. And information that Ross Collins is suffering with disconnection issues. He's had 4 disconnections, but he looks like he's back underway and motoring now to the finish line. Francois back at racing now. I am back at racing with joy. Putting the Belgian beers to one side, concentrating on getting those legs spinning. As Ross takes that turn, I'd be so happy to see this finish line now. Comes over in 54 minutes 28. Gulak in 25th position. Managed to keep Mike Wareham at bay. I see Wendy Pales just at the bottom of the climb there. Francois back at Racing Berber, feeling that might still be enjoying the occasional left. Mike Wareham been able to keep Hulbert at bay, but not quite able to overturn Gulak, who's racing for React ECT. Looks like he's taking part in the ARL race series. He's over the line in 26th position. Hulbert pushing out 8.8 watts per kilogram, 9.1. Yeah, sprint for the line. And then we see Wendy Pales, first of our female competitors, coming up to the finish line. Time is going to be over probably 57 minutes by the time we get to the finish line. So we are streaming the Heroica series just on the YouTube channel at the moment. BCN has a number of channels in YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. I forgot for a moment then. Mine went blank. YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, and a few other platforms as well. So if you find us, be sure to give us a like and a subscribe. That we do stream a lot of events, and on the Monday nights we have the REAC E-Racer series as Wendy comes over the line there, waving to the adoring fans. Karen Bailey, so we've gone from the first female rider on the road to the next one is Karen Bailey, who is winning the ladies category. 1.4 kilometers remaining. Comes up to the finish line. So yeah, the REAC E-Racer series takes place on the Monday nights, and that uses our Facebook and Twitch stream channels. It's a great resource to learn about the ins and outs of the racing and how to best prepare yourself for virtual racing, and lots of hints, tips and tricks to make sure that you're at the optimum performance. And Rick's always happy to answer questions to anyone who wants to get involved in the chat. See Bailey's going to come over the line. Coming up to the Paterberg climb shortly. And Bailey now entering the final ascent of the Paterberg. 8%. It does ramp up very aggressively. As I say, you just have a look at that fencing to the right hand side of the road. You can see how much they've had to step that fencing there. Gives you an idea of how steep this road really is. So steep my avatar won't climb it. That's how steep it is. Started to give up on the side of the road. Nearly heart rate climbing now as the gradient gets steeper. 18, 19.1. Drifting up towards that 20% mark. Now, come in ever so close to the finish line, the gradient drifting back down to more manageable levels. Having said that, it's still 11%, and that looks like a relief after you've just hit that near 20% section. Bailey coming up on that finish line, 50 meters left to go. Over the finish line and just over the hour mark. Goodfellows on the climb. 215 meters left to go. RGT has switched over this year to using a slightly different rendering platform. I think it's Universal Rendering Pipeline. I think it's allowed them to put some more effects into more detail. Change somewhat how the lighting effects work on the platform. And it's allowed them to put more detail into the distance and still keep reasonable frame rates for everybody. This Goodfellow comes around now, 30th position. Finish line in sight. Around that very tight hairpin, that tight 90-degree bend at the end there, and over the finish line. Then we bench, just coming into the bottom of the climb. And we may have to end the broadcast just shortly after bench here. And that was Bench just over the line there. We've got Thirsk and Jones coming up as well. They seem to have made good progress over those last couple of kilometres. Of Jones puts in a big effort here to overhaul Thirsk. Carry on towards the finish line. A little bit of battling going on between these two now, with 50 metres left to go to the top of the climb, 100 metres left to the finish of the race. Jones sits down into the saddle. Thirsk, one last effort. Doesn't look like it's going to overhaul Jones. Jones comes around the corner and finishes in 32nd position, with Thirsk coming over the line in 33rd. Fantastic racing by all involved tonight. Really happy to have had you along. Hope you've enjoyed the stream. That's it from us tonight, and we'll catch you on Thursday with the Thursday night PRT handicap race. And until then, have a great evening.